So I have went digging on Bleach Rebirth of Souls, and I come up with a little bit of gold for you guys who've been asking me some different questions in the comment about verticality, some different gameplay elements and all that different stuff, because Steam actually has a nice little page for the game where we can check out some different things about some screenshots as well as the description on some of the different mechanics that we only heard a little bit about. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the Steam page. So first and foremost, I want to show you guys the screenshots. So these are going to be basically stills from the trailer, but there's one in particular that I really want to show you guys that I do not think was in the trailer. So first we got Bankai Ichigo looking damn good, and then we got some different screenshots with Renji and Ichigo. I want to kind of focus a little bit on this one because it will tie into the other one that I really want to talk about, and it's going to make a lot of sense here in a minute. So first and foremost, we can see that these guys are grounded. So a lot of people are like, hey, it looks like we're just going to have one layer and we're going to only be able to fight on the ground. Also kind of take a look at the environment, the sunset, and kind of the different district, right? So we don't necessarily know exactly how big these maps are going to be. Are they going to be more like Demon Slayer, Heroes Justice, where they're just kind of like, you can see the stuff back there, but you can't actually go there? Or is it going to be more like Sparking Zero, where I can fling Renji into this billboard and all that different stuff? I imagine it's going to be more like Heroes Justice, maybe a little bit bigger. Demon Slayer, maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe we can go like, a little bit past, but I don't think you're going to go that far, into these buildings and stuff like that. I don't think they're going to have that type of mechanics to it. But that's just kind of what I've been able to see and infer from these screenshots. So the next one's going to be probably the thumbnail to this video. So you probably just seen this one. Nice little still here. Ichigo and Renji again being really pissed off at each other like they are for the majority of the series. Renji here looking badass. We got Ichigo looking badass. We got Rukia looking badass. And then the next one I really want to show you guys is this one. So let's talk about the elephant in the room first and foremost, and that's verticality. You can see that they're floating in the air. You can see that they're fighting in the air. So it's not just one of those things where you do it for a couple of seconds. Obviously, we don't necessarily know exactly, but it looks based on this one that you are able to do different combinations in the air, and we'll actually talk more about that in the description because they show us a little like mini video basically of how you're able to do some different things in the air, but we don't know how to get there. So we don't know if it's like you can ascend, descend like you can in Sparking Zero, or you have to kind of like knock them up, or maybe you can jump up to that point, or maybe this is like the only like the height you can go is like this is the max, and it's just like ground level, and then this you can't go any higher than that. Obviously, we only can see what we can see here. But it was cool to see that they had verticality basically confirmed, and they were able to showcase like this nice little district. Because again, what I wanted to kind of showcase is another thing is going to be the different stages, and then how they're able to have some different cycles. Now, obviously, this is probably just like another selection of the stage, like a variation of the stage where it's like this night with this green sky instead of the sunset, but it's still the same district. You can see the billboard, and they're in the same spot, which makes me think again that we're not going to have too much free roam on the actual arena itself. Based on the positions that a lot of these characters are standing in, it definitely seems very like in the same spot. So it makes me think that it's going to be pretty confined to what you can actually do. So maybe they're going for verticality over like longevity or like kind of length of map, which would be kind of interesting to see how far up we can go and how that works. But we'll have to see more about the gameplay. Then Uru's just in here looking like Uru. So this kind of looks a very similar spot as well, kind of in the same city district, but it could maybe be a different map or a different variation of that map. The real thing I want to talk to you guys is about these descriptions here. So first and foremost, take a look at this boy and Ichigo and Renji. He can actually parry here. So here in a second, right now, he's going to parry Renji and go into this nice little attack animation. So I'm not going to read the entire description, but basically what it's saying is pick your favorite character, unleash your unique sword abilities, take advantage of each character's unique abilities, and command the flow of battle. So what makes me think is that this is Ichigo specific and not necessarily a mechanic of the game to be able to parry. Makes me think that Ichigo has a parry that happens to have a follow-up because it looks very quick. Now, obviously, if you're a player, you could put it in manually. I think you could do it pretty quickly and be able to pull it off. So maybe it is a manual thing. Maybe every character has parry. But based on the description, it definitely seems very Ichigo specific. But we get a nice little confirmation again of that verticality in the air. And then Renji goes flying down. But it doesn't look like he goes all the way down from just the cutoff there. So maybe we really are on like a new plane whenever we're kind of floating there, and we don't get knocked all the way down to the ground. It's kind of hard to tell based on just this little like 2-second video, but there's a lot of cool things that get kind of confirmed here because Renji gets knocked up even higher than essentially where you're at. So it looks like you have at least a little extra verticality, but not much because it's kind of hard to say when he gets knocked back down whether you're able to like recover or something like that. But yeah, this looks very Ichigo specific, so we'll have to kind of see exactly what kind of defense mechanism each character has, or maybe that parry is really just a general mechanic for the game. I would prefer it to be a general mechanic for a game. Everybody being able to parry would be pretty cool, but I really wouldn't be too mad about it just being like character specific as long as each character had a cool defense mechanism that they were able to do themselves. Like maybe Renji gets like an extra like, guard or something like that, because typically he's very good at guarding from what we've been able to see in the anime, or maybe he gets like a double guard or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. We'll have to kind of tell. So this next one is something that they actually talked in the live stream about for like 2 seconds, the single strike thing, on how you can have basically a comeback mechanic. So you can do a single strike that will end the other person. So I don't know if that means like full health to death type of thing, or if it's more like a comeback thing where you have to have lower HP, and then you go in and are able to land this and it instantly kills that other person. It definitely seems like that's more what it is, because it says a single strike can defeat your opponent, change the situation dramatically with the swing of your blade. So this definitely seems like it's, you know, you get to a certain low HP and this is like your last ditch effort. If I had to imagine, it would be once per match, not once per round. So if they had multiple rounds, like 2 to 3 rounds, maybe you could only use this once per match. So this is like one of those things where like you either come in clutch, maybe you're doing your 2v3 or whatever, you really need to win that last round, and so you pull this off and you're able to hit it. But I don't imagine you'll be able to continuously do this or like effectively keep doing it, because I think that would be super broken. So they'd have to kind of expand more on exactly what this means and how the mechanic works, which is something I'm really interested to see more. But I thought it'd be cool to bring it up because it was only talked about for a couple of seconds. You can see Rukia and even Ururu kind of doing it to Renji. Unfortunately, Renji's getting his ass kicked. But it looks like it is some sort of mechanic, because each one of those have those like little yellow glow on them that kind of proc more than once. So it's kind of interesting to see. Maybe you have to do a certain sequence of events to be able to do it. Maybe this isn't even the full combo. It's kind of hard to tell with this. The last one, though, is something that a lot of you guys have been asking, and that is transformations. So again, this transformation stuff, this is kind of going which way I didn't want it to go. So the more desperate the situation, the more powerful you become. Overturn the tide of battle and unlock new forms and new blades in the heat of battle to bring victory from the edge of defeat. This kind of sounds like another kind of comeback mechanic. And honestly, bro, I do not want transformations to be a comeback mechanic. Call me whatever you want, man. I feel like a transformation is so much more badass when I can be in it and I can stay in it for however long I want. But it could definitely be balanced out, or maybe seem like really cool if it's a comeback mechanic, depending on how it's done. The two ways that I could see it is, again, being associated to HP. The lower HP you are, the more likely you're able to do Bankai or something like that to have this nice little kind of comeback stuff. And then maybe it's time gated, so basically you're able to do it with your low HP, and then you only have like 30 seconds in it. So the one thing that kind of sucks about that is somebody could kind of block, or maybe they're able to kind of run away for a little bit of time and kind of dumb that timer down. But obviously it's up to you to be able to do your different moves. I imagine you go into a different skill set and different stuff that you're able to do. So maybe it's like OP in terms of like what you're able to do and what kind of things you can accomplish. So that's why it has a timer associated to it, essentially, if that's how they go with it. Obviously I can't confirm or deny that's how they do it. The other thing I could see is it's actually related to the in-game timer during the match. So maybe you go to a certain point where like you got a minute left or whatever, and then you can both transform to like kind of finish the fight. You know, essentially you can stay in it for the duration of the timer, and then that's kind of how it goes. So it's kind of two different things. I'd really like to just be able to see, you know, this is kind of fancy wording, and maybe you could just transform whatever the hell you want. But it does look like you'll be able to actually transform in the game itself, which I think is dope by itself. You know, just the fact that we have in-game transformations, they look pretty good from just this little like 2-second thing. I hate saying that, but we really just don't have a lot of information. But we see Ichigo going into Bankai there, looking phenomenal as he changes. And we actually did get to see during the trailer that he does have a sort of different combination attack structure that he has versus like the stuff we're seeing here. So just based on that little piece of information, I would definitely see that it's more of a, you know, last minute ditch effort type of thing. But I don't really like that, because there's two different ways to do that already. If you have the single strike, that's a comeback mechanic, and then you have transformation as well. Now, I don't know. We'll just have to kind of see more. Let me know if you think that I'm correct about the way that I'm reading this stuff. How do you guys infer this? And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.